Someone better call the fire department because we're about to get old school with our electronics. Seriously, I hope this isn't a fire hazard. Some of these are older than me. Welcome, YouTube. Today we've decided to switch things up a little bit and take a trip down memory lane, the ultimate throwback, if you will. We'll be taking a look at some early computing devices, my first impressions, and take a glimpse at the computer era of that time. This one goes out to all you retro computer hobbyists. Let's go. So the year is 1982, Late Night with David Letterman is debuting, our favourite alien is on the big screens, and the CIA supposedly planted a Trojan horse in a chip that controlled Soviet pipelines. Then a personal computer hit the shelves that would not only dominate the market, but would become the best-selling single-model computer, even holding a Guinness World Record for its colossal number of sales. The Commodore 64. This little guy was so popular that it was actually manufactured for a long 26 years and still holds a fond place in many people's hearts up until today. You've just got to plug this bad boy into an old-style computer monitor or TV without needing to make any modifications. This computer was really considered the ultimate home computer because of its all-round use like Wordpress, spreadsheets, and even gaming. The operating system was Commodore Kernel Basic 2.0. You could set up joysticks for gameplay. Sure, it's no Super Nintendo, but for that time it was pretty close. Ghostbusters being one of the all-time classics for this model. It can hook up to a cassette recorder, it would print, and it had a decent amount of memory for that time, about 64 kilobytes. What more could a coming-of-age teenager want? Our scene continues in 1982. The British sister of the Commodore 64, the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, was introduced. The ZX was a very cheap and popular 8-bit home computer for this time, but it really made its mark in the European market. This was one of the UK's best-selling computers back in the 80s, selling around 5 million units and having thousands of games released for its model. The Spectrum was advertised to have more memory than its competitors, about 16K of RAM. A keyboard with extra keys, which is mind-boggling, especially looking at all its key functions. And we can't ignore its distinct rainbow motif. Funnily enough, I actually read online that users often had to carefully adjust the volume to get a program or game to actually load properly. Well, if it was acceptable in the 80s, right? It was said that this computer inspired many youngsters to dive into the world of programming and brought computing into people's home at an affordable price. Unfortunately, we don't have a working monitor for this one, but it is a gem of a computer, so we thought you'd appreciate taking a look. Moving on to a household name, even by today's standards, the Apple Macintosh launched back in 1984, the same year that one of the first academic papers on computer viruses was actually published. This computer was a bit of a brick, so thankfully there is a handle on the top. It has 128K of RAM and a 32-bit microprocessor and 400K disk drive. What separates this computer from the rest is that it was one of the first to actually stand by two pretty unpopular features at that time. You've got the mouse and the graphic user interface. The Macintosh project actually began over 10 years earlier by an Apple employee, and this computer was a highly sophisticated office computer envisioned to make computing more streamlined and cheap for all users. Initially, the Macintosh 128K had an all-round lack of software, and it only fueled Apple's desire for innovation, soon creating the Macintosh Plus, which was the longest-lived Macintosh in the history of Apple. Then moving on to another masterpiece for its time, the Apple iMac G3, which we'll get around to, so stick around. 1987, the same year that the first antivirus software was written. Commodore also decided to bring something new to the world of computing that would really highlight the potential of PCs. The Commodore Amiga 500. This was Commodore's best-selling Amiga model and came on the scene just as Atari had released their very own 16-bit computer. Its code name was Rock Lobster and came with unique features like advanced graphics and sound, pushing it into the home gaming, sound and video revolution. So I have here the Commodore Amiga 500. I've just turned it on and it's asking me to put a floppy in, which has a game on. So let's try this out. She's a beauty. Look at this. Oh yeah, Turbo Cup. English translation by Nikki Penny. Thanks, Nikki. It's true to its Commodore built-in keyboard design, but came with a kickstart feature and a 880K floppy drive. Its pull-down windows made for a more unique navigation experience, and it originally came with 512K of RAM and then upgraded to a whopping 1 full megabyte of internal memory. Could you even imagine? Oh, how the times have changed. Are you in the market for a new laptop? One that's compact, transportable, and a hefty 6.4 kilograms. That's £14 for the Yankees out there in weight. Well, that's what the people of '88 were after. That same year that Robert T. Morris released the first computer worm to spread via the internet. Compaq were notorious for their high-performance machines, and this beefy SLT 286 didn't disappoint, being the first laptop to support VGA video standards, and among one of the first laptops to have a detachable keyboard. This laptop screams late 80s, it's super thick with a disk operating system. So we're going to take this Compaq for a little spin, see how it handles. So as you can see here, you can take off this keyboard, and underneath you would put the original battery. Nice touch. Oh, you can adjust the brightness. Woohoo, fancy. And the contrast here. Smooth. And then you've got your floppy, old school, and you would just stick it in here. And then just eject with the button. Super smooth. Most surprisingly, apparently this could run for a full 3 hours on one battery charge, and when this bad boy actually fell into the hands of the collector, it still had its original battery working. The entry of this laptop was 1 year prior to the release of high-resolution, flat-panel color displays, so it doesn't support color. Interestingly, this laptop actually had an old version of Microsoft Word, but if you wanted to see the final version of your document, you would have to render it first. Tough times. Titanic, Saving Private Ryan, Spice World, and that time that Bill Gates was hit in the face by a cream pie. Jumping into the year 1998, where the Macintosh personal computer truly saved Apple as they fell into hardship in the late 1990s. She's beauty, she's grace, she's elegance, and she's named the Apple iMac G3. The Apple iMac G3, with its colourful and innovative design, it was clearly trying to stamp out the overuse of the colour beige within the computing world. Not forgetting its mouse and keyboard could in fact match the colour scheme to really take your look to the whole new level. So here we have the iMac open. This actually has a Mac OS X operating system, so this computer had a lot of longevity. And it's got the original mouse, which is so strange to use. It's really round, it's a bit uncomfortable, and it actually plugs into the keyboard as well with USB. It's got the speakers, it's got a CD import here. Pretty new, pretty fresh. The shape was also a defining factor of this machine, somehow fitting the speakers, graphics, a hard drive, the main board, and the controversial replacement for the floppy, the CD drive. This computer actually featured a USB port, which we've completely become familiar with today, but at the time it introduced a more convenient plug-in experience all round. It also has a 100 megabyte Ethernet port and modem. For some, to call this retro is a bit of a bold statement, seeing as it's nearing into the 2000s, and in comparison to some of the old boys that we've shown today, it can't really compete. However, it goes without saying that this computer definitely shook up things a little bit when it was released and paved a path for Apple's future. If this has really sparked your interest in the good old computer days, why not head to our website and check out more? What a glorious collection of computers, isn't it great to take a trip down memory lane? Just the best. If you enjoy this content, be sure to like this video to support us. Why not subscribe and turn on that notification bell to get fresh content every week? It's great to take a look at how far computing has come over the past decades, but honestly, we can't forget how it all started. Already we're seeing some of these computers reigniting, especially the C64, which was re-released in 2019. Super exciting times. Let us know your favorite retro computers down in the comments. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.